Hello and welcome to another video. Today I wanted to discuss ChatGPT, and I will do more than just show you how to use it. I will discuss the actual technology, the company behind it, some history, the limitations of ChatGPT and what it can do, as well as the difference between it and a regular search online engine, like Google Search. I will also bring up a more recent piece of news that talks about an open letter signed by big tech leaders, which pertains to concerns surrounding the rapid development and advancement of AI, which might hurt society more than helping it. But first things first, what really is ChatGPT? Well, it's basically a large language model, which I'll explain more about in a moment, that was created by a company called OpenAI, and it's based on the GPT architecture. And GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. So if I would break down the GPT part in ChatGPT, then the G is the generative part because ChatGPT is designed to understand and generate human-like text in response to a wide range of prompts, such as questions, commands, or statements. And the P in GPT is the pre-trained part because ChatGPT has been trained on a massive amount of data from the internet, allowing it to have a vast amount of knowledge on various topics. Its purpose is to assist and engage with people in natural language conversations, to help them find information, solve problems, or simply chat. And the transformer part of GPT is like a special type of brain that helps it understand and use human language. Just like you have a brain that helps you understand words and sentences, GPT has a transformer brain that helps it understand and use words and sentences too. This special brain is really good at recognizing patterns and relationships between words, which helps GPT to talk and write like a human. So, when you talk to GPT, it's like talking to a really smart friend who knows a lot of words and can say things in a way that makes sense. So, in layman's terms, GPT is a type of computer program that has been designed to understand and use human language. It has been trained on a large amount of text data from the internet, which has allowed it to learn patterns and relationships in language. This means that GPT can generate its own language that is similar to human language, allowing it to perform tasks such as answering questions, completing sentences, or even writing stories. Essentially, GPT is a language model that can help people communicate with computers in a more natural way, without needing to learn specific commands or programming languages. Now, I've mentioned the term language model a couple of times, so let me step back a moment and explain what it is. An AI language model is a type of artificial intelligence system that uses machine learning algorithms to analyze and understand natural language. Basically, it is a computer program that is designed to understand and generate human language. Now, AI language models use deep learning algorithms, such as neural networks, to learn the patterns and structures of language. They are trained on large data sets of text, such as books, articles, and even social media posts, to learn the vocabulary, the syntax, and semantics of a language. And once trained, AI language models can be used for a variety of applications, such as text generation, sentiment analysis, language translation, and chatbot development. They are particularly useful for tasks that involve natural language processing, which is the ability to understand and interpret human language. And if all this was still too confusing, we can simply say that AI language model is like a robot brain that helps it understand and talk like humans. It learns how people talk by reading a lot of books and things on the internet, and then it can help us do things like translate language or talk to us like a friend. Now, who's the company behind the creation of ChatGPT? Well, the company is called OpenAI, and it's a research company that was founded in December 2015 by a group of entrepreneurs and technologists, including Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Greg Brockman, among others. And just as a side note, Elon Musk no longer sits at the board of the company because he left back in 2018. The reasons vary, but the main points hover over that there were differences in opinion, plus Musk wants to focus on his other main companies, including Tesla and SpaceX. All right, back to OpenAI. The company was initially established with the goal of advancing artificial intelligence in a way that is safe and beneficial for all humanity. In the early days of the company, OpenAI was focused on developing artificial intelligence technologies that could be used to solve some of the world's most pressing problems, like climate change, poverty, as well as disease. It also started out as a not for profit company, but later changed its status to for profit, but with a cap limit for profits. Now, OpenAI also has developed and released several products and initiatives in addition to ChatGPT, and here are just some notable ones. DALI. This is an AI system capable of generating images from textual descriptions. So, all you have to do is describe what you want drawn, and DALI will generate highly realistic and creative images based on your textual prompts. Whisper. Whisper is a versatile speech recognition model that can transcribe, identify, and translate multiple languages. It can transcribe speech into text and translate many languages into English. And there's also OpenAI API, which is a platform that provides access to a range of AI models and tools, including language models, computer vision models, and more. The API is designed to make it easier for developers to integrate advanced AI capabilities into their applications. Now, these are just a few examples of the many products and initiatives developed by OpenAI, and in general, the company is committed to advancing the state of the art in AI and making these technologies more accessible and beneficial for society. I also wanted to give you a quick history tour on the different versions of ChatGPT. The first version of ChatGPT, known as GPT-1, was released in June 2018. This model had 117 million parameters and was trained on a large amount of text data to generate coherent and fluent language. Then, in November 2019, OpenAI released an improved version of the model known as GPT-2. This model had 1.5 billion parameters, making it significantly larger and more powerful than its predecessor. GPT-2 was trained on an even large amounts of data and was capable of generating highly realistic and coherent language. However, due to concerns about the potential misuse of the technology, OpenAI initially chose not to release the full version of GPT-2 to the public. Instead, the company released a smaller version of the model known as GPT-2 117M, which is short for 117 million, which had the same number of parameters as the original GPT-1 model. But the GPT-2 version of the model was made available to only developers and researchers for a wide range of applications, including chatbots, language translation, and text generation. Then, in June 2020, OpenAI released an even larger version of the model known as GPT-3. This model had 175 billion parameters, making it one of the largest and most powerful language models ever created. GPT-3 was capable of generating highly coherent and fluent language and could perform a wide range of tasks, including language translation, summarization, and question answering. And in December 2020, OpenAI released a scaled down version of the ChatGPT 3 model known as GPT-3 12b. And as you can guess, this version of the model had 12 billion parameters, making it significantly smaller and more accessible than the full GPT-3 model. GPT-3 12b was made available to developers and researchers through OpenAI's API platform, allowing them to build a wide range of applications using the advanced language generation capabilities of the model. Then, in March of 2022, OpenAI released an updated model of GPT-3 that was more capable and was trained on data up to June 2021. But it wasn't until November of 2022 that the new version got the version number 3.5, and the product was then referred to as ChatGPT 3.5. And last but not least, GPT-4 was officially announced on March 13, 2023. And as of the time of making this video, GPT-4 is only available in the ChatGPT Plus paid subscription. Now, according to OpenAI, this next generation language model, GPT-4, is more advanced in three key areas: creativity, visual input, and longer context. In terms of creativity, OpenAI says GPT-4 is now better at both creating and collaborating with users on creative projects. Examples of these would include music, screenplays, technical writing, and even learning a user's writing style. The longer context plays into this as well. GPT-4 can now process up to 25,000 words of text from the user. You can even just send GPT-4 a web link and ask it to interact with the text from that page. OpenAI says this can be helpful for the creation of long-form content as well as extended conversations. And GPT-4 is also multimodal, meaning that in addition to receiving text input, it can also receive images as a basis for interaction. In an example provided on the OpenAI website, the chatbot is given an image of a few baking ingredients and is asked what we can make out of them. And lastly, OpenAI also says GPT-4 is significantly safer to use than the previous generation. It can reportedly produce 40% more factual responses in OpenAI's own internal testing, while also being 82% less likely to respond to requests for disallowed content. Now, I briefly mentioned some of the limitations or considerations when using ChatGPT, but let me talk some more on this subject so you can understand what you're dealing with. So, while ChatGPT is certainly a powerful language model that has demonstrated remarkable capabilities in generating fluent and coherent text, it also has some limitations, and some of them are as follows: lack of common sense. ChatGPT is trained on large amounts of text data, but it lacks a deep understanding of the real world and common sense knowledge. This can lead to inaccurate and nonsensical responses to certain queries or prompts. Limited contextual understanding. Although ChatGPT can understand some context, it can sometimes struggle with understanding more complex contexts or nuances, which can lead to the model generating irrelevant or inappropriate responses. Biases. Like all AI models, ChatGPT is susceptible to biases, which can manifest in the model's responses to certain topics or queries, and these biases can be amplified if the training data used to train the model is biased or limited in some way. Dependence on training data. ChatGPT's capabilities are largely determined by the quality and quantity of the training data used to train the model. If the training data is limited or biased in some way, this can limit the model's capabilities and potentially lead to inaccurate and inappropriate responses. It is also important to note that these limitations are not unique to ChatGPT, but are common to many machine learning models. As with any AI technology, it is important to understand its limitations and potential biases and use it responsibly, as well as ethically. And OpenAI does acknowledge these issues and says that the latest model still has problems with social biases, hallucinations, and adversarial prompts. In other words, it's not perfect, but OpenAI says these are all issues the company is working to address. Now, in continuation to our discussion on limitations, as an AI language model, there are several things that ChatGPT cannot do. Here are some examples. ChatGPT cannot feel emotions or have subjective experiences. So while it can understand and respond to emotions in human language, it doesn't have emotions or subjective experiences of its own. And ChatGPT cannot act on its own. It's a passive AI language model, and it can only respond to prompts and generate text based on the input it receives. It doesn't have the ability to take any physical actions on its own. Also, ChatGPT cannot provide medical or legal advice. So while it can provide general information on medical and legal topics, it's not a licensed professional, and the responses should not be taken as a substitute for professional advice. Also, ChatGPT cannot learn beyond its training data. So while it can generate text based on the patterns and relationships it has learned from its training data, it cannot generate new information or knowledge beyond what's already contained in the corpus of text that it was trained on. So, ChatGPT is not an all knowing oracle, just in case you were wondering. ChatGPT cannot have personal relationships. So, while it can hold a conversation and provide emotional support in some sense, it's not capable of having personal relationships in the way that humans do. And ChatGPT can be a threat to human jobs. Now, while AI technology is advancing rapidly and has the potential to automate certain jobs, it's also creating new job opportunities in areas like AI development and data analysis. But ultimately, the impact of AI on the job market will depend on how it's implemented and integrated into various industries. One common question I get asked often is, what's the difference between ChatGPT and online search engines like Google? The general quick response would be, while both ChatGPT and online search engines can provide information, they actually serve different purposes and have different strengths and limitations, as well as different capabilities. So here are some of the key differences between ChatGPT and online search. Nature of the query. ChatGPT is designed to have a back and forth conversation with a user, hence the word chat in ChatGPT. However, an online search engine is designed to provide information in response to certain queries or keywords. Type of response. ChatGPT provides a personalized response based on the context of the conversation, whereas an online search engine provides a list of potentially relevant resources that the user can explore. Level of understanding. ChatGPT is capable of understanding natural language and can generate responses that are nuanced and contextually relevant, whereas online search engines typically rely on keyword matching and may not be able to understand complex or nuanced queries. Depth of information. ChatGPT can provide detailed and personalized information based on the conversation, whereas an online search engine provides a broader range of information from a variety of sources. Limitations. ChatGPT may have limitations in terms of the scope of its knowledge and the accuracy of its responses, whereas online search engines may be limited by the quality and relevance of the sources that they index. So, in summary, we can say that ChatGPT is designed to have a back and forth type conversation and provide personalized responses, whereas online search engines are designed to provide a broad range of potentially relevant information in response to specific queries. So, I talked a lot about ChatGPT, the technology, the company, and now it's time to show you the actual product. In a browser window, I'll type openai.com, then hit enter, and this brings me to the OpenAI homepage. From the top menu, I'll click on Product, then ChatGPT. This opens a new tab and a welcome message appears from ChatGPT. I now can either sign up if I don't have an existing account, but since I do have an account already, I'll click on the Login button. I'm prompted to enter my username and password. And if I correctly authenticated with these credentials, then I'm allowed entry into ChatGPT. Alright, so this is the ChatGPT interface, and I'm using the latest free version, which as of this recording is ChatGPT 3.5. On the left side, we have a button to start a new chat. Then right below it, we have a history of all our chat conversations. And if I click on any of them, the chat conversation is displayed for me in the main window on the right. I can also edit the name of my conversation by clicking on the edit button, or I can delete it altogether by clicking on the trash icon. Right below the list of chat conversations, I have a few options. And these options might change over time as ChatGPT is a constant work in progress. So here are my current options. I can clear all the existing conversations. I can upgrade to the Plus version. And when I click on it, I get this window that compares the two versions together. And it shows that I'm currently subscribed to the free plan. I can also now see that the ChatGPT Plus version costs $20 per month. So I'll click on the X to exit out of this window now. The next option is the light and dark mode feature. Right now, I'm in the dark mode, as you can see that my screen is dark color with white text. I'll click on the light mode button, and now my screen's background is white and the text is black. So pick the mode you want, and I personally like the dark mode, so I'll switch back to that by clicking on the dark mode button once again. And the next option is the Get Help, and when clicked, it opens a separate tab in my browser. And it takes me to a web page with different categorical information about ChatGPT. For example, if I click on the link for What is ChatGPT, I get a list of FAQs. Then I can click on the cookie crumb all the way at the top of the page. And when I click on ChatGPT, I'm taken back to the previous page. So there's lots of information to explore here, and I highly suggest you review them. All right, let me go back to my other tab now. And the last option here is just to log out of ChatGPT. All right, so let's start to play around with ChatGPT. I'll click on the new chat button on the top left. This gives me a new chat window, and as you can see in the center of our screen, that we are provided with some examples, capabilities, and limitations. Then down here is where I can type my chat request. The options are really limitless. For example, you can request a poem about trees written in Shakespearean English. You can ask for an analysis of a presidential debate. You can have it write essays about a myriad of topics. You can create a video script, write a song, and so much more. So for my first example, I'll type summarize Ronald Reagan's 1984 State of the Union address. Then I can hit either enter or click on the send icon. And now you can see that ChatGPT has started to generate a response to my request. Pretty cool, right? And if you're not satisfied with the current response, I can now ask it to regenerate the response by clicking here. And now I'm prompted with a question if this response is better, worse, or the same. And to toggle between this response and the previous one, I can switch between them by clicking on the back and forth icons here. So this is the first response. And I click on the forward icon, and now I'm back to the second response. I'll exit out of the survey question. I can also click on the thumbs up or down icons. And if I click on the down one, I can provide some feedback which OpenAI can review and use, but I'll exit out of it for now. Now, let's say I feel this response was short, or I need the response to meet a certain word count. So instead of creating a new question, I can modify my original question by hovering over it, and then click on the edit icon. Now I can change my request and add the phrase in 500 words, then click on Save and Submit. And off it goes, typing away. I can also stop the process by clicking on the Stop Generating button. And as you can see that the response came back longer based on my request. And since this is a chat conversation, I can now tell it the following. Create PowerPoint type bullet points of the summary using 6 slides. Then when I hit enter, An organized list of bullet points start to appear, all organized by slide. So I hope by now you're starting to see how much time this tool can help save us. Now, the first time I saw ChatGPT in action was when I created a website app. Yes, ChatGPT can do that too. In fact, it can write pretty much any application for you. For example, let me create a new chat, then I'll type create an iPhone app in Swift UI to retrieve weather data from an API. And when I hit enter, look at the magic appears. ChatGPT displays steps to write the code with explanation, and it actually writes the application for us using real code that we can use. Look at this. This is the actual iPhone app code written in Swift UI. And as a programmer, this is like 80% of the application already built for me. I now can customize it, but the majority of the work has been done for me in a matter of seconds. So if you're not convinced of the sheer power and awesome value of this tool, then I don't know what will convince you. And this is me just scratching the surface. So let me show you some more examples. I'll start a new chat and carry out a longer chat conversation this time. So I'll type, "What should I eat today?" Hit enter. The response is that it doesn't know my food preferences, which is fair, so I'll follow up the chat by typing, "Surprise me with 3 ideas." Then hit enter. And to continue my chat, I'll type, "Create a shopping list for a Buddha bowl dish." Then hit enter. And now I get a shopping list that I can use at the grocery store. Then I'll top off this conversation with the following. What drink would you recommend with this dish? Then hit enter. And voila. So how cool is this tool and how awesome is AI in general? Now, this tool is trained with data up to a certain point in time, and this current version that I'm using does not go beyond September of 2021. So for example, if I type, "Who won the FIFA World Cup in 2022?" then hit enter, I get this response that it doesn't know beyond a certain date. Now, again, this tool is not perfect, and it does make mistakes as it continues to learn and improve. So always proofread the responses and double check the facts. My general advice is to use ChatGPT to create whatever text-based response you want, then customize it or edit the response further to meet your full needs. As you saw in the iPhone app code example, I can take the generated code, test it out, and build on top of it as I customize it to meet my requirements. Now, when I first started to use this technology, I was blown away by it, but slowly I started to think that it can be a double-edged sword. Technology can be used in a good way to help humanity, but it can also be used in a way to hurt humanity. And we've seen this with previous technologies. Now, this exact topic was discussed in an open letter signed by over 1,000 AI experts, technologists, and business leaders, including Apple's co-founder Steve Wozniak, as well as Elon Musk himself. The letter was created at the end of March 2023, and it urged AI labs to pause the training of systems more powerful than GPT-4 for a period of 6 months. The letter was published by the Future of Life Institute, which is a nonprofit organization that focuses on mitigating risks that are associated with transformative technology. And signatures are still incrementing on a daily basis. Now, the main concern behind the open letter can be understood from the following excerpt. Advanced AI could represent a profound change in the history of life on Earth and should be planned for and managed with commensurate care and resources. Unfortunately, this level of planning and management is not happening, even though recent months have seen AI labs locked in an out of control race to develop and deploy ever more powerful digital minds that no one, not even their creators, can understand, predict, or reliably control. The letter also explains that it's not calling for a complete halt of AI development, but it recommends AI labs use this time to collectively develop safety protocols that can be audited by third parties. And if they don't pause, then governments should step in and impose a moratorium. The AI revolution has indeed started, and we just need to ensure that the proper infrastructure is in place so that the inevitable AI revolution can be safe and beneficial to everyone. So, in this video, you learned about what ChatGPT is, the company behind it, the technology, as well as the concerns, and you also saw some cool examples. Please don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.